Let's go.
Master Swag King coming at you guys today with another video. And if you guys are returning viewers or new viewers, then please consider subscribing to the channel if you have not already. Leave a like on this video if you enjoyed it and comment down below. Also, make sure you guys hit that notification bell. That way you guys can get notified on whenever I upload a new video or go live. And in today's video, we are going to be talking about Chris Hemsworth's comments on Thor, Love and Thunder. So this is stuff that we have been saying mostly as a collective for a long time. It just kind of feels so validating that some of the actors are finally admitting certain things that we have said about these characters over the years when it comes to like the MCU. Now, as everyone knows, a few years ago, I did my top 10 superheroes of all time on one of my Nightwing podcasts back in the day, you know, back when I was in my prime, when I got a lot of views on YouTube compared to now. Obviously, I'm a washed up has-been. And I listed that Thor was one of my favorite superheroes of all time. I love Thor as a character, the mythos behind it, Loki, Odin, Valhalla, Beta Ray Bill. I love Thor as a character. Super, super interesting character. When it came to the MCU, I like the first movie. I feel like it has the nice balance of what the comics actually are. But then, you know, after basically Avengers 1, it starts becoming really muddy. Like, Thor the Dark World is really bad. Then, you have Age of Ultron. You have Age of Ultron, and it's like, why is Thor really here? And then you have Thor Ragnarok, and those Ragnarok comments are like, you can do a big event out of that alone. But then Taika Waititi makes it all a joke because people forget the reason why he became a joke is because the fans collectively thought he was boring. So Taika Waititi went and made it really funny.
I never thought he was boring to begin with.
That can only work once, because later on, when we get to Thor: Love and Thunder, if you do that again, people are going to be like, well, no, I don't like that anymore. Because it's only going to be able to like subvert your expectations once. Obviously, in the Infinity War, he was great. I liked him in Infinity War. But in Endgame, he's fat Thor, can't fight properly, even when he has two hammers back. So I would say this. Thor throughout the MCU has been pretty up and down. He, debatably, who you ask, he's had a great character arc, going from one place to another. But then it's always been peaking lows. And then you get to Thor: Love and Thunder, and you're just like, what the fuck is going on? This is just dog shit.
But by Thor: Love and Thunder, they go full retard, and you know what they say, you never go full retard.
Yeah, and this is the thing with Thor and some of the Avengers movies is it's kind of like writing Superman. How do you write a character that powerful into the mix? I'm saying they did it before. You can. The Avengers first movie does it, Infinity War does it, and his first movie does it with Kenneth Branagh understood how Thor works. Yeah. These other guys, they don't understand how he works. He can do that fish out of water kind of thing, but that's gonna get old. People understand you have to write him competently. He's just not written competently in a lot of some of these movies. I mean, Thor Ragnarok, he's just an actual retard. Like, the God of Thunder can get tased. The God of Thunder can get tased and knocked out.
Well,
someone said it was a magical taser. You are retarded if you believe that.
The way I justified it in my head was he was kind of going through that whole lost his hammer, thought that was source of his powers.
Yeah.
So that's how I justified that in my head.
Yeah.
Even though it still bothers me to this day that lightning took him down.
Yeah, but then we get to Thor: Love and Thunder, and he can magically share that fucking power with everybody.
Yeah, that could have been useful fighting Thanos and saving, I don't know, half the universe. That could have been really helpful.
That could have been helpful in New York, Sokovia, pretty much every major
battle. The Dark World. I mean, yeah.
Another thing to bring up when they cuck Thor is the things you guys brought up, but I'll bring up this first thing first. This was before, which is Thor's purpose in Ragnarok. It is stated by Odin he doesn't need the hammer to be that powerful. So when he goes and fights Hela, he doesn't actually beat her. They're more like even at a standstill. He doesn't need the hammer. He's so strong on his own. And yes, that is in the comics. He is strong. He's very much so strong on his own. But the hammer does add to his strength a lot. You get to Infinity War. Well, now you need a hammer again. Doesn't that just cuck what the fuck we just saw there? He was told in the whole movie, I don't need this. I'm strong enough on my own. But someone said, you have to have a weapon that can kill Thanos. That literally defeats the purpose of what we just saw with his character. That defeats
I get
the
it.
entire purpose.
However, in Infinity War, we did see moments where the axe did come in handy. Specifically because he already has his thunder. He also already has his like lightning powers. Those are awesome already. He doesn't need the hammer for that, but he does need the hammer to Bifrost. He also needs to. But we also did see when he was fighting Thanos. Like Thanos has that big old like attack using some of the power from the Infinity Gauntlets aimed right at him, and the axe just cuts right through it and hits him in the shoulder. So I think that that would have been I justified that. That's like, okay.
It enhanced him.
Yeah, like it does. It's not saying it's not like you need a hammer in order to be the God of Thunder. It's like you need a weapon to kill Thanos, and we've seen that this is true. He cannot kill Thanos on his own because. All of Asgard just got wiped out on the ship that he just got. He was already proven he couldn't do it. That brilliant opening of Avengers Infinity War, where that distress signal is going out, voiced by Kenneth Branagh, by the way.
Good, yeah.
Have like not just Thanos beating him, picking him up by his breastplate, like a sack of luggage and just throwing them on the floor of the ship. It's like,
the thing to bring up when it comes to the Thor character, before we cover the quote that he gave to Vanity Fair, because he had an interview with Vanity Fair, and he's been giving some really harsh comments on Taika Waititi over the past couple of like the Thor: Love and Thunder came out in 2022, right? Yeah, so he's been giving a lot of comments on Thor 5, and he was remember at the end of Thor: Love and Thunder it says Thor will return. He said he didn't even agree to that. He's like, what?
Here's how I feel about Taika Waititi as a director. He's the equivalent of that class clown that keeps telling the same joke over and over again. And you laugh the first couple of times because it's genuinely funny. But of course, the more you do it, the less funny it gets. And over time, that same joke just keeps getting more and more pathetic every time you fucking do it. And there comes a point where you look at him and you go, dude, you just need to shut up. Like, you're not funny anymore.
Yeah.
So that's, as I mentioned before. Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, I was just saying, because I think it actually happens to go right along with this, because what you could have done, he's the epitome of the guy who takes nothing seriously. Ragnarok had its place, I think, because maybe the humor still kind of gets to me because Thor from the very beginning. Kenneth Branagh, whenever he shot and directed that film, the first one, it was designed and written like a Shakespearean drama, and it worked. I still love that movie.
What the comments are,
it's awesome.
They are like that.
And the second one is I think it's aged way better. I think people were expecting something that was kind of a continuation of Avengers. But it was still like noble Thor. And the thing is, by the time Ragnarok rolled around, Thor stopped being noble. He kind of was, but he was a joke. And Chris Hemsworth is an incredible comedic actor. He really is. I've seen him in some really, really funny stuff.
He's funny.
Yeah. He was the good part of the Vacation movie.
He's did oh no, not that one. He's did Extraction. I liked him in Extraction.
Yeah, like he's a good actor. He can carry the film.
The horror movie he was in 2012 with Joss Whedon. That horror movie.
Cabin in the Woods.
Cabin in the Woods. He was great in that, actually.
Yeah.
So, like, for my opinion, with Thor, it's very up and down. It's very like, which Thor are you talking about from which movie? Because I think the first two appearances he has work him great in Infinity War, but other than that, he's been like factor in the final finale for the first part of the MCU in Endgame. He's a fat Thor treated like another joke.
Yeah.
Yeah, so as you guys know, he had his interview with Vanity Fair where he kind of, went really hard, as we know. So here's some of the quotes that we go. So Chris Hemsworth takes blame for Thor: Love and Thunder failure. I like a guy that can do that. I like a man who can stand up and go, I failed you guys. Okay? Yeah.
Well, was it really his fault?
That's what I was going to say.
Yeah.
Quote, I got caught up in the improv and the wackiness and became a parody of myself.
No, Chris. You were allowed to improv on the set because they didn't have a script half the time, or they did have a script, they ignored it. That's the thing. The director
has famously said he'll destroy your canon. They rehired Taika Waititi for Thor: Love and Thunder because Ragnarok did better than the first two movies at the box office, and this is what you get. Chris Hemsworth graces the cover of Vanity Fair's May 2024 issue, where he revealed that he feels Marvel fans deserve another Thor movie after the whiff that was 2022's Thor: Love and Thunder, which means ultimately, since he has the power, Taika Waititi is not coming back, and thank God.
I got the power.
Because again, if you can't
Oh
take
my
anything
God.
seriously, now I want to watch Bruce Almighty.
He
The
saw
actor
it and
already-
it was good.
The actor
No,
already
no, no.
admitted to GQ last year that his fourth standalone Thor movie was too silly for its own good, but the misstep appears to continue to haunt him. Yeah, you gotta understand, he's the only
Dude.
original Avenger to have a fourth movie. The only one. Have
Well,
one. Captain America doesn't count. That guy's black.
yeah,
Nope.
you're right.
He's not Captain America either.
I wasn't gonna mention the black part, but
Yeah, I forgot.
Captain
Quote,
Black
he says-
Falcon.
okay.
Oh no. All right. Quote, he says, I got caught up in the improv and the wackiness, and I became a parody of myself. Hemsworth told Vanity Fair, I didn't stick the landing, end quote. While Hemsworth has always been grateful for his career-defining role as Thor, he admitted to the publication that he grew frustrated with the character while playing him in 4 standalone Marvel films and additional Avenger movies, actually.
Well, it's like Strider said, his fucking arc was up and down all over the place. There was clearly
There's
not there
Yeah.
was no
Mhm.
concrete direction for his character.
There was no
No.
consistency ever in his character. One
Thing
movie,
is-
he's like, oh, I love this guy. He's cool as fuck. Next movie, he's just pining over Jane Foster, and they have a terrible on-screen chemistry.
No,
Like,
what
you
one
have-
no one movie he's like Metallica where he's going darkness imprisoning me. All that I see, absolute horror. And then and then the next one, it's like he's hanging out with the insane clown posse, and then he goes back to talking about darkness imprisoning him. It's like
A proper Thor movie would be just shoot a metal album, but take it seriously. Treat it like a heart attack. Treat it like you're shooting a war movie. But
treat it like
film
Dragon
a me-
Force.
Pretty much, yes, exactly.
Yes.
Make
Yeah,
it epic.
yeah.
Make it epic and stupid, but take it seriously because we as the audience will appreciate that. Because Punished Thor, as he's called in Avengers and Infinity War, is the best Thor. Is absolutely great, and Hemsworth nails it, and that's what we wanted to see. That's what we thought he'd get back to after Endgame, whenever he kind of got fat and stupid. Okay, maybe he'll grow into that. Maybe he'll grow into the next one.
Maybe he'll
Are you
not
saying-
be fat and stupid.
Are you saying fat people are stupid? What-
Saying
No, no,
Chris
no, no,
Hemsworth
no,
was
no,
fat and
no, no.
stupid in that.
Behind the paywall.
Behind the
Okay.
paywall, yeah.
All right, yeah. Also, I want
But
to
like-
mention before we continue on is that in Thor Ragnarok, not only did they strip him of his planet, his hammer, they also took away his hair and his eye. Remember, he lost an eye.
Well, that was because Hemsworth was sick of wearing the wig. Let's be
I like
honest.
the haircut. I prefer the haircut over long hair Thor.
I hate
I
it.
kind of
I
do.
hate
It worked for Punished Thor because he's a warrior. Doesn't have time for that. This is a different kind of warrior. Like he's like a commander. He's not like this big old. He's not like this is knight of legend. He is like an operative. He's in there to do one job. And that's
He's a
to kill
D&D
Thanos, and he takes-
character.
Pretty
He's
much,
a
yeah.
paladin. He's a paladin.
great.
He's stoic and great, and then all of a sudden goofy as fuck at one point.
Yeah, and the thing is, all you had to do, and that's what's really disappointing with. I mean, that's one of the reasons why Endgame is not great. All you had to do is make him even darker. Just do the Jake Skywalker, but less annoying, because we already see Thor take that turn. We already see him going from kind of this wacky guy who kind of has to take life seriously in order to be the king of Asgard again. But then all of a sudden he fails at everything. How does a guy like that bounce back?
Yeah.
And we
Never
didn't
really
see
explored
that.
ever.
Do you know what's running through my veins right now? Cheese whiz.
Oh my god! All right, so the next
Funny
quote
line, but
is,
did not work.
the
Yeah,
next
right.
quote he had is, "Sometimes I feel like a security guard for the team."
Aw.
Hemsworth said, "I would read everyone else's lines and go, oh, they got way cooler stuff. They're having more fun. What's my character doing? It was always about, you've got the wig on, you've got the muscles, you've got the costume. Where's the lightning?" Yeah, I gotta agree with him. That's really how it felt, honestly. I gotta agree with him on that. Yeah, that's how it felt. I'm part of this big thing, but I'm probably pretty replaceable. I'll be honest here, I don't disagree with this. This is so
Yeah.
true. Yeah.
Well, he was replaceable as a comedic character, yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
The character
He
that we
does
wanted
look
to
like
see was
Thor.
not like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For what
Yeah.
it's worth, Hemsworth's longtime Marvel co-star and Iron Man actor Robert Downey Jr. refuses to listen to such claims, saying, first off, he has a quote, "Thor as a character was super tricky to adapt, lots of implied limitations, but he and Kenneth Branagh figured out how to transcend, make him somehow relatable, but godlike." Yes, that's why Kenneth Branagh should be the guy doing them. He had the best balance of both. He did the whole Donald, his name for the comics, where he's knocked out of Asgard and he has to rebuild himself. Donald Blake or whatever his name is. He did that great.
Yeah,
He did it great actually. Yeah.
In that scene
Hemsworth-
before where Hopkins casts him out, where it's just where it's just like a veteran actor and a young upstart.
Yeah, that moment.
Oh,
is
not
one of
a
the best-
fool! Oh,
Yeah, that's
such
one of the
good
best
acting.
moments in an MCU movie. Is that first Thor movie when Thor gets back from fighting the Laufey, and he has that moment with his dad. You are an old man, and you're a fool, and he just cast him out. Yeah, great, Kenneth Branagh. He does,
and you know
things
what?
very good.
He goes through a great arc in that movie. He grows as a character.
Yeah,
You know,
he does.
so it's just
Hemsworth is, in my opinion, the most complex psyche out of all of us Avengers. He's got wit and gravitas, but also such restraint, fire, and gentleness. I think another character that they never really ever balanced out beside Thor is Hawkeye. Hawkeye never really felt like he got any fair shake, even in Avengers 2 when he was in it a lot, actually. But that all depends on the writing, you know? I feel like only really just Josh Whedon and Kenneth Branagh gave Thor his fair shake, and then the Russo brothers, obviously, for the first Avengers movie. Actually, Thor turned Hemsworth into a big, brawny Hollywood action star. A lane he's continued to dominate with movies such as Netflix's Extraction films. I saw Extraction 1, a pretty solid action movie overall. I didn't see 2 yet. But the actor yearns for more, telling Vanity Fair he wants to work outside of the action movie genre and collaborate with dramatic filmmakers such as Christopher Nolan, Catherine Bigelow, Greta Gerwig, Martin Scorsese, and Steven Spielberg.
Steven Spielberg's best work is long behind him. You don't want to work with that guy.
he revealed
Martin Scorsese,
Aaron Arono Frusca, whatever.
Aronofsky.
He revealed Darren Aronofsky, who produced his. Just kidding. I'm joking.
WZ, do your thing, bud.
No. He revealed Darren, who produces his adventure documentary series Limitless, is developing 2 potential projects with him in mind to star. One is a dark comedy, and the other is a sci-fi project. Next up for Hemsworth is playing the villain role in George Miller's Mad Max Fury Road prequel movie Furiosa, which the actor said is his most favorite role since headlining Ron Howard's 2013 race car movie Rush.
Rush was pretty good. I don't remember thinking about it, but I remember liking it. That's saying something. But that may just be like bullshit actor talk, but to promote your next project. But that's kind of impressive.
Right.
His favorite role.
Going back to an earlier quote of his where he said, "Am I replaceable? I'm pretty much replaceable." Now it kind of comes down to kind of looking at it from like Cavill. If he truly kind of did do some research into Thor and what Thor is, he may have started feeling that I need to play ball with what they want to do, because the moment I start to become difficult, because I don't think the character would do this, I could get replaced.
Mm-hmm.
And granted, that's still fairly early in it, but he could have had that thought if he was already thinking that, well, I could just be replaceable anyway. Maybe to keep the role, I'm going to play ball, even though I'm not liking what they're doing with the character.
Yeah.
I don't want to get labeled as a difficult actor.
Yeah, because anything now you could just get labeled as, difficult to work with.
Yep.
It's unclear when the actor might return as Thor in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. He clearly wants to give fans the Thor movie they deserve. But he also told Entertainment Weekly last year that he wasn't sure how long he could continue to play the same role. He said then that a potential Thor 5 would have to be unpredictable. So Chris Hemsworth also isn't at fault here. I remember a long time ago, he had an interview where he was like, I want to do more comedic roles. And that's when he landed in Ghostbusters. That's when he also landed in that
we don't talk
Men in
about
Black,
that movie.
the Men in Black 4 movie that doesn't exist with that.
Man, I forgot about that.
We don't talk about that movie either.
He had another quote, which he
the
said,
woman of many faces.
Yes.
I love
He had
Tessa Thompson as an actress, but she was terrible in the movie.
Another quote he had, which she said, I don't want to continue to do it until people are so exhausted that they roll their eyes. No, dude. Chris, good Lord. People want to see you do better. No one's tired of you. They want to see you do better. They think you can have
he doesn't want to keep doing it until people get tired of him.
Yeah.
You gotta do better, Senator.
No.
You just lecture us by not mentioning Ghostbusters when you're gonna mention that shit.
I honestly don't know which one's worse.
They're both pretty bad.
Also, what Darnell says is true. You know, everyone, the fans wanted to do a good Thor movie. We're not tired of seeing you in the role, I would say.
Mhm.
When they see me come on the screen as that character Hemsworth added,
That's
if
what
an
she said.
audience wants to see it, and if there's something that we believe is exciting and fun, then great. I loved being able to reinvent that character a few times. I don't have the answer yet, but I would love to try and figure out how we can do that again and keep it a little unpredictable. The thing is, gotta go to the comics, man. Like, this is the problem with a lot of these Hollywood actors, not him just specifically, because I know he was diagnosed with something where it could be like offset dementia in a very, very long time from now. This is the big problem when it comes to superhero characters, and a lot of people are not gonna like what I'll say here, but I'll say it anyway. There's a reason why some of these movies never turn out as good as they can be, because they actively neglect the source material. The reason why source material is there is because you can lead off of what is already pre-established for the character. That's why it's there. If you do not lead off with the source material and have that in mind, you are going to fail. It is like making a Harry Potter movie without even reading any Harry Potter books. Okay, make your own shit. That will probably not work.
I can remember when they announced that Gore the God Butcher was going to be the villain for Thor 4, and immediately I was like, "Oh, that could be really fucking cool." And then it came out that they casted Christian Bale, and I was like, "Well, Christian Bale has the acting chops to play a character like that, so cool, bring him the fuck on." And arguably, he was the best part of the movie, but kind of like what MSK was saying, take inspiration from the comics. Other than the implication that he's out there slaying gods, Gore the God Butcher in this movie is nothing like Gore from the comics. And the thing is, just the character, the concept of who Gore is and what he does not match the fucking tone of what that movie's going for.
Another thing to add to your point, when it came to Gore the God Butcher in that regard, before we go back to Chris Hemsworth, is when his intentions are revealed, then the movie's whole premise falls flat. If he's the guy that's right and the gods are all dicks, then okay. The only he's wrong about being a killer, which is obviously wrong. Yeah. But when his motivation is revealed, it's like, oh crap. There's a reason why movies have been failing now. The writing has been bad. So,
but in the comics, he's a lot more complex, man. Like, holy shit.
And then that's
just not even. You don't even have to make him complex. Just acknowledge the realities of the world that you're living in. Because think about it, we are post blip, like not long post blip, and we have a ice cream shop named after the Infinity Gauntlets. Good God, which was insane, because I think that's Michael Waititi just not taking anything seriously. But think about it, we have a world where we have an entire universe where gods are needed now more than ever. Right. Where the power and the stability that they provide, which honestly Marvel has never figured out how gods figure into the MCU, so that's kind of on them. But maybe that could be a time to explore that, like what are gods in the MCU, and how do they, especially during a time now like when Gore is killing these gods, they could have an immense impact on the rest of the world and the rest of the universe. Because obviously you have a god of order, which you have a god of order, and who is maybe making his presence known in like a board meeting where they're deciding some important stuff, and all of a sudden just descends into chaos because Gore kills him. All of a sudden these things are popping up. It would have been better if we just never know who Gore. We never saw Gore until the end. All of a sudden we just see these dead gods, and we know what they're responsible for, and that could be something that Thor could investigate. That could use his powers, both like in the logical sense and be in the world, and still be in the world post blip, and just acknowledge the realities that you set up and adapt your story accordingly. But that would require talented writers that don't treat everything like a joke. Taika Waititi.
And as we'll close out, as I say, I know a lot of people don't like hearing this if you're a casual, but this is just the reason why your superhero movies have been either on the cusp of greatness or below it, is because the creators don't really have that much respect for the source material. The
greatness ended after Infinity War.
The source material literally is there for you to take off of and have a potentially good story, depending on which story you choose. The lack of respect for the source material from a lot of these characters, you can get lucky and get some good movies out of not using it or being inspired by it, but this is what the wall you run into when you do that kind of concept is, because if you don't use it a lot, or you have no bearing of kind of like what it's about, you run into this wall of like, oh, I'll just do my own shit. Well, do you even understand the character yourself? You can get lucky. People can get lucky and get a movie that's not based on source material. What do you do afterwards? You have nothing, do you?
Right.
That's the problem.
It seems like they're going to like a wiki entry, Marvel villains, and then get a small little synopsis of what the character is, and then make up the rest.
So I'll ask you, Drunken, as we end this off, what do you think about Chris Hemsworth's comments and Thor's arc in the MCU? Do you think he can be redeemed with a Thor 5, actually?
If they have a good writer and look to actually following some of the source material, they could turn Thor around, especially with Hemsworth and the role. However, I still just current MCU, I just don't know that they're ever going to actually produce anything that would actually redeem the character.
Right.
They're too
Sure.
they're still too much in the attack, degrade, and marginalize strong male heroes.
Yeah.
Nathan, what do you think? Can Thor be redeemed in the MCU?
Not in the current age of the MCU, I think. You give it a couple more years after hopefully we've gotten out of this kerfluffle that the MCU is currently in, if they ever get the fuck out of it. I think with a competent director and a competent group of writers, they probably could pull it off, but kind of like No Way Home and shit, just had a brain fart. Anyway, yeah, I think with a more competent group of people, they probably could. You know, I think Chris Hemsworth definitely has the drive to come back and play this character. I mean, just the fact that he's talking about it shows that he's still interested a bit. So yeah, I think given a chance with a competent team, fuck yeah. I mean, I'd be down.
Yeah. Darnell, what do you think? Can Thor be redeemed in the MCU after his, up and down adventure in it?
I'm gonna say no.
Really?
Okay. Putting your balls on the table behind a paywall. This
man's got testicular cancer because his balls are fucking huge.
Despite the fact all the positive things we said, I'm going to refer back to last week when we discussed Deadpool and Wolverine. I think the MCU is dead. Deadpool and Wolverine
are so harsh.
What Deadpool and Wolverine is the chemo that's gonna prolong. Is gonna. I'm sorry. Is the morphine is gonna? Let the
all right. It's the morphine walk behind a paywall.
Is the morphine that's going to allow the MCU to go home and die comfortably in bed?
Oh, good jeez.
Like Rose at the end of Titanic.
Yeah, they're not going to learn. Disney will not learn their lesson when Deadpool comes out.
Mm-hmm.
By the time Thor 5 comes out, if it ever does, because I have a feeling they're gonna just scrap the whole thing
and ponder the question.
I think I hope I'm wrong, but I don't think we're even gonna make it to see the movie released.
Yeah, because this before I started, I'll echo the thing you said. Thor is in his continuity in the MCU. We don't have a Beta Ray Bill. Okay, that's another big character for his continuity. Loki is dead in Minecraft in the MCU, I guess.
I just saw something tell you that season 3 is in production right now, or is about to production.
There's so many things already out of place, and you could say wrong with how Thor has been mistreated in the MCU in general. It's like, how do you could go back to I would say always go to a comic route, source material. You literally have it there, but he's at the point in his MCU career where it's like, it's just been. The best material has already been kind of wasted in a lot of bad areas. You would have to pull a story of his. I mean, you could go off the Matt Fraction run. There's the Michael Straczynski run that's really, really good. The Jason Aaron run they already did with Thor: Love and Thunder, where you have the female Thor. I don't know why they chose to do that.
Speaking of characters they haven't done yet, Enchantress, we still haven't seen her yet either.
Enchantress, yeah.
I just don't think we're gonna make it to see the movie, or if we do, it'll still be on life support, hanging on, and it may be a good movie, but
Jesus fucking Christ.
Look, the MCU is fucking done.
He's making the MCU sound like it's a stage 4 lung cancer patient.
It is
dialysis because they're dying.
The MCU is a fucking
I agree. Yeah, that's exactly what I was going to say. It's that.
Hear me good, nigga. I'm here to double down. That shit is a 2-pack of ass. The fuck are you talking about? That shit stinks.
But I agree. No, I was about to say the exact same thing. That MCU right now is in the hospice.
If
It's
Deadpool is the morphine till I die comfortably at home in bed.
Yeah. Strider, what do you think? Can Thor be redeemed in the MCU?
The MCU cannot. Absolutely not. The MCU is on its way out. Comic book movies are not going to do as well as they are, because people are kind of sick of them, and also people are also kind of sick of bad ones. And the MCU does not have the trust of the general movie going public.
We got Sony,
to provide an entertaining experience anymore. Well, I mean, come on.
Thanks,
Well,
Madam Web.
The best, but the best. Well, the thing is, some of the better Marvel movies have come under Paramount's run, so that's interesting. But can Thor be redeemed? Only if you have a good director. If you have, I would love to see Thor. It's not Thor. I love to see Chris Hemsworth doing some writing of the character, maybe. But if you treat him seriously, if you have a director that can shoot with a minimal budget, maybe it will make enough money at the box office to give the MCU a nice little send off with one of its sleeper hit heroes. Because nobody expected Thor to do well. Nobody really expected it to be an amazing movie, but it's great. I still watch it. It's my go-to flu movie when I'm sick in bed, and it was one of my favorites when I first watched of all the MCU movies of the Paramount age. Thor was my favorite, still is, and honest, even though Captain America is great, but I think the time for, as long as you shoot it, I think you'd have to do something really unexpected. Shoot it like a metal album. Maybe get someone like Robert Eggers to direct it and treat it seriously. Just think about it. Minimal sets, minimal special effects to an extent. Have a good villain who is creepy as hell and who is violent and awful in all the ways that Thor isn't, and let Thor finally be a king in his movie and stay a king.
Don't he's still finding himself.
I hate that.
Yeah.
Stop doing that. Stop that shit now. Just
how is
make
he
him
still finding himself in how many movies he's been in? 8?
Every single one of them. Every single one of them. He's been growing. And it's one thing to have a character grow, but to have like such a drastic
But there's not a point. There's no more growing. Yeah.
Keep him king. Make him fight Satan at the end of time, directed by Robert Eggers, with lightning and lightning flashing like wormholes around in space in front of a giant universe-sized volcano. Cover. I know. Lean into the metal aspect of it. Make it ridiculous.
Did you just recite the plot from the Northman?
Yeah, why not? Why not? Why not? Tell me why that wouldn't do well.
That fits the tone of the character quite a bit.
It does.
I mean, that sounds amazing. It fits again.
But Strider, forget. This is the MCU. That never happened.
Exactly, but we all know that's not going to happen.
Two naked, muscle-bound men fighting with swords in a volcano. Wait, that
sounds kind of so what you're saying is less Spinal Tap.
Hey, I love The Northman. It's one of my favorite movies to come out in the past 10 years.
The Northman, honestly, I vouch for it. Great movie.
I haven't seen it either still.
Oh,
it's awesome.
So to wrap this up, for Chris Hemsworth, this is what I've always said about the MCU, even before I even had a podcast to people that I knew. It always kind of felt like he was tacked on in some movies. Like, was he even needed? I still feel like he was always that dumb brew, fish out of water, growing character in movies. And his arc's been really up and down. If we ever do get a Thor 5, I agree with Darnell. I think it's a little too late, honestly. There's so much great material that's been already squandered. You'd have to get a story and somewhat replicate it on screen up to the point where you're showing people who the real Thor is. Then you're going to be questioning to yourself, why didn't I get this Thor many years ago? And then you're going to be like, wow, what a wasted potential of this character.
And that won't even matter, because just after Deadpool and Wolverine, the fucking slate that's coming down, we'll be waiting 5 years for a fucking Thor movie.
Guys,
with the shit they got coming out.
If you want some good Avengers content, just go watch Avengers Earth's Mightiest Heroes. Like, we all know they're the best incarnation of the Avengers.
That's the point. We can find better Marvel stuff looking anywhere else but the MCU.
Just read the source material. They're there.
Dude, Thor in that kid's cartoon is more Thor than he is in fucking Thor Love and Thunder. Okay.
So that's just my thing with Thor as a character in the MCU. Chris Hemsworth, I think he has done a good job in some movies, but it's been so up and down. They've treated his relationships with characters like a joke as well. Just like Darnell said, I think it's a little too late for Thor, honestly. But if we do eventually get to the point where the MCU is not dead and there is a fifth Thor movie, take it seriously. Get a comic book storyline where you can represent him the best way. Get not Taika Waititi, a writer and a director that can really, really showcase what this character is made of. But I will always say this: then you're gonna look and but then you're gonna think like, damn, they really wasted this character. Even when we get a good Thor movie, let's just say we do, hypothetically, argument seeking. Let's say we do get one. You're gonna be going like, damn, they wasted this fucking character. They wasted the absolute shit out of his character. We still do not have Beta Ray Bill.
I'm just thinking about Natalie Portman. So MSK, you wouldn't want a muscle-bound, thored up Natalie Portman choking you out?
Yeah, and with that being said, thank you
As
for
long
checking
as
out
it's
this
behind
video.
the paywall.
Thank you guys for checking out.
I would, honestly.
Checking out my paywall behind my butthole. Just kidding. That's just a joke. All right, so thank you guys for checking out this video. I am MSK, Master Swag King. If you guys are returning viewers or new viewers, subscribe to the channel if you have not already. Leave a like on this video if you enjoyed it. Comment down below. Hit the notification bell. That way you guys can get notified on whenever I upload a new video or go live. We're signing out.